Welcome to my Asshole Podcast. Let's get into it. Welcome to my Asshole Podcast. My goodness, it is another beautiful Tuesday episode. Man, I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. Hopefully you guys are having a good start to your week. I know your boy is. And hopefully that you guys are too. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying the extra streams that we've been doing on Wednesday and Friday, as well as Sunday and Monday. Hope you guys have been enjoying all the content that's been coming out and all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys. Love you so much for all the support. Wanted to get that out of the way. Without further ado, we're going to do no thread today. We're just going to be doing scenarios sent in by you lovely people. So there's going to be a full scenario episode. So we'll get into announcements a little later on in the show. I'll do about 2 scenarios and then we'll get into the announcements. So without further ado, let's get on into the show. We got our first one. Cheated on after 11 years. 29 female found out through his drunken Reddit post. 29 male. Jesus. All right. To say my life has come crashing down is an exaggeration. My partner of 11 and a half years, 29 male, father of my 1-year-old son, decided to start a relationship with another woman from work. Damn. He came on here seeking validation in order to leave me 1 month ago, stating he does not love me and was met with nothing but disgust. The comments have helped me so much. I'm not here to go into the details. What he has done is just repulsive, and he's simply ran off to her after he's been kicked out. I just pleaded to another man on... I just plead to another man on here. If you are out of love with your partner, leave them. Spare them the humiliation, the stress, the tears. I am completely and utterly numb. I have I have had to take this week off of work. If it was not for my son, I wouldn't be out of my bed. We could have said, "Oh, we separated," but instead, it's he cheated on me. He told me not to tell anyone, but I'm not sure how people wouldn't notice our almost 13-year relationship is over. We have a nice house, hosted parties where the house everyone comes over to. He says his mistress loves him and understands him, something I didn't do. I loved that man maybe more than I loved myself. I see that now. Oh, and FYI, she knew about me and my son and was so happy to live the lie with him. Yo, bruh. Mans is crazy. Yo. I mean, it was bad enough that he cheated on her, all right? It's bad enough that, he cheated, he did everything that he did. But the fact that you blew it up on the internet, my guy, crazy work. And then you thought people were going to be on your side. That's what's most wild to me, is that you thought people were going to be on your side about that. Like, come on. He played the whole, oh, my wife doesn't love me anymore and she doesn't care about me and this and that. She just doesn't understand me like this other girl did. Like, bro, and you thought people were going to be like, oh, yeah, go, man. You go. Leave her. She ain't worth it. Like, nah, bro. That's crazy how he thought people were going to be on his side. Like, bro, you could have just... obviously, the correct answer is to say you could have just left her and all that kind of stuff. But we all know he ain't going to do that bullshit. The thing is you could have just kept all of this to yourself. You know what I mean? You really didn't have to blow it up. You didn't have to post it on Reddit and all that kind of stuff. Like, bro, that's wild to me. And then the fact that, like, your wife found it, bruh. Woo! That's even wild in itself. The fact that she found it. Like, bruh. Cooked. You guys let me know what you think about that one in the comments. But, man. Absolutely cooked. On to our next one. Found out who my ex was seeing. Okay. My ex broke up with me in bed, or in a bad way, in August, treated me like shit and tried to wean me out. He was at my house all the time, met my family, went to my cousin's wedding with me in June. I suspected he was talking to other girls a while based on his behavior. I saw this girl named Melly or Melissa on his phone sending messages or missed calls. I confronted him about around spring. He made up some shit. He calls me thinking we friends. Asked me if I am dating anyone. I'm not. He denied, but he is. But I saw him posting this pic with girl Thanksgiving on Instagram. Jesus Christ, you guys need to double check your sentences. My God. Then he took it down. On my social media, I got people you may know, and her name Melissa popped up. Same girl in the photo. It's obvious now. Her account's private. Question is, do I message her and ask her if she's dating my ex and how long? Or do I just step away? Don't want him back. Just pissed off. Bro, if you don't want the dude back and you're done with homie, just move on. Obviously you want him back. Obviously you still care. If you're asking this question, you obviously still like him and you still care. All right. And I think what this was, and a lot of girls do this, a lot of girls don't understand that, because a lot of girls, what they'll do is they think they're in a relationship with a guy, right? And to him, you guys aren't in a relationship. But to her, she thinks that, yeah, we're boyfriend, girlfriend. And I think that's what was going on here, is that he probably never made anything like official. So he looked at it like, well, you know, you're not really my girlfriend. We're just kind of in the situation. And so, yeah, you know, I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to this girl at the same time. But at the same time, it's like, bro, let her deal with the bullshit, man. Move on. You know what I mean? Get on Tinder or something. Get on Hinge. I don't know. Like, you can find another guy. It's not that hard. Man. But I guarantee you it's a thing where you still want to be in a relationship with him. You still like him to some degree because this other girl. You look at it like, wow, this girl is getting what is mine. You know what I mean? Like that's mine. That should be me. What the fuck? I guarantee you, I understand you're going to sit there and be like, no, I don't care about him. I don't want him. No, you do. Or else you wouldn't have even made this post. You would have been moved on. You'd probably been talking to somebody else. If anything, you probably would have just been talking to nobody. You would have blocked him on everything and you wouldn't even be thinking about him. But no, you're thinking about him. You're wondering if he's dating another girl. Because and I've said this in previous episodes, women have this thing where they look at it like they want their ex-man to be miserable. They're like, if you're going to break up with me, I want you to be miserable. You know, and if you're not miserable, I need to do everything in my power to make you miserable. That's the only reason why you want to contact this Melissa girl. You want to contact this Melissa girl so that way you can stir up the pot and be like, oh yeah, you know, he was talking to me. He was dating me while he was talking to you. Like you were the other woman. You were the second choice. I already know you want to do some bullshit like that. I already know. Get your head out of that messy jar right now, girl. Move on. Move on. You don't need to. You don't need to do any of that. Man. Oh, bruh. Y'all are wild. I ain't gonna lie to you. Y'all are wild. Hey. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments, though. All right. Before I get into this one, I'm going to do announcements right now. That way you get them out of the way. So, patreon.com/Am I the Asshole Podcast. Get an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in your scenario to be featured on the Tuesday and Sunday show like these lovely people did for today. Audio listeners, thank you guys so much for all the support. I appreciate you guys so very much. Loving all the support you guys have been given. Thank you guys for coming out every week, downloading the episodes, and hanging out with your boy. Whether you're listening to me, you know, while you clean your house, or you're listening to me while you're driving to work or you're driving home, whatever it may be, I just appreciate you. All right. Thank you for all the support.
We'll be right back. Hey music lovers, looking for a new show? Why not check out the Hook and Bridge podcast? We are a music interview show with some incredible bands. We play fun games with all of our guests and break down everything you need to know about music, the headlines, everything going on with your favorite artists today. So why not go check out the Hook and Bridge podcast, now streaming on every platform you can find podcasts. That's the Hook and Bridge podcast, the #1 brother and sister music podcast in the world.
Shit. If you want to help out even more, go ahead and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, as well as subscribing on YouTube. That helps out a lot. I don't know why I had just like the biggest brain fart right now. I was just like, I say this, in the announcement segment, I say it at least like 2 to 3 times a week. And you would think like, yeah, your boy just got it down. Nah, I still don't. I don't know why. Like my brain just... it just farts out and I'm just like, what am I saying again? Where am I at again? I don't know. I don't sleep. I'm just gonna say that. I just don't sleep. All right. Let's continue on to our next scenario. Am I overreacting? Is this normal behavior or am I overreacting? Okay. My partner, 24 male and I, 25 female. My partner has always had an extreme issue with masturbation and porn. Over the last 5 years, it has completely dissolved our sex life. Now, here's the part I find not normal behavior. Recently, my Aquaphor went missing. I use it pretty regularly. Is this nigga using Aquaphor to beat his meat? Oh, this nigga's using her Aquaphor to beat his meat, bro. Oh, my God. I don't know, but... I use it pretty regularly. I looked all over for it because I had just left it on the dresser and I knew that I didn't misplace it. He's been carrying this bag with him whenever he goes out, literally. And instead of just asking him, I decided to check. In the bag, I discovered a pocket pussy, an entire bottle of baby oil, empty. That was the only thing in the bag. And he carries this bag with him 24/7? What? Yo, man's just carries a pocket coochie with him everywhere he goes. I didn't know it was in there till now. I am thinking of completely ending things over this, as I feel like his issue is starting to get severely out of hand. Before I break things off, I'd like to know if I am overreacting or if this behavior isn't normal. Okay. All right. Yes, this is not normal. A man, ladies, if your man is carrying a pocket coochie around 24/7 with him, please break up with that man. And if he enjoys porn more than he enjoys having sex with you, then yes, break up with this man. Like, what? Bro. Now look, most guys, and I do mean most guys, can compartmentalize, the fantasy of porn and then their real girl. We talked about this on the Patreon episode, and a lot of guys can compartmentalize that 1000%. But there are some guys who I have no idea how they get girlfriends. I really don't. I'm just like, bro, what the fuck is going on here? Like, how do these weird niggas have girlfriends and I don't? Maybe I just work too much. I don't know. But if I'm being honest with you, bro, it's one of those things where it's just like, if you are dating a guy and he blurs the two together where, porn is his reality and he brings that into the relationship and it affects it negatively, then yeah, you got to break up with this dude. Yeah. Carrying a pocket coochie around 24/7 is the wildest thing I've ever seen. Don't get me wrong. If your man's got a pocket coochie, and he's still having sex with you, it doesn't really affect you guys' sex life or your relationship, whatever. Let the man have the pocket coochie. It is what it is. If he's got one of those, butts, those silicone butts or whatever, and again, it's not affecting your relationship, it is what it is, let him have it. Why? Because he's the type of guy where he looks at it like, this is fantasy, this is real, and this is my relationship. He's able to compartmentalize that stuff. Most men can do that. But, and and that's a big butt, big, round, and juicy. If your man is blurring this shit together where he is carrying a pocket coochie around 24/7, yeah, you need to break up with that man. Let him go be with the pocket coochie because that's obviously the girlfriend he wants. So you go let him be with her. All right. He probably named that shit too. He probably named it Gwendolyn or something. I don't know. But if I'm being honest with you, let him go be with the pocket coochie because that's what he wants. And then you go find you a man that, understands that this is porn and then this is real life. Because if I'm being honest with you, no, let's be honest here, even if you break up with this dude and you give another guy, this guy is going to beat his meat too. Like, let's be hundo P here. All right. It's the reason why the porn industry is $1 billion industry. Okay. Let's be honest here. It's not like you going to just find next man and this guy don't beat his meat. No, he does. But he's just not going to be the guy who's carrying a pocket coochie around 24/7 and beating his meat with Aquaphor. Let's be I still can't get over that niggas beating his meat with Aquaphor. That's crazy. Oh, shit. Oh, you guys let me know what you think about that one in the comments. But, man, that's crazy. All right. Am I overreacting? I, 34 female, have been with my wife, 35 female, for over 10 years. We have a 5-year-old. I was using her iPad that is connected to her phone. So, her live text messages were coming through while I was using it. She was away overnight for a work thing. A message between her and her boss was happening. Long story short, he told her his room number and she disappeared for an hour. When she finally replied to my message, she said that she was down with work people. I confronted her with lies and message exchanges, and she said her boss has been trying it on her for months, and she didn't know what to do. So she thought playing along with his advances was the only thing that she can do. I said, you could have told me or we would have went to HR. But she was afraid of losing her job. Again, I said we would have figured something out, but she said she was scared.
She belongs to the
Stop
street.
the cap.
Both those buttons were correct. She is back now, and I have took a bag of clothes round to her parents and said to stay there for now. I don't trust what she says, and I don't know what to do. I need some advice. Woo! Oh, man. This is one of those situations. I've said it in previous episodes before. It's one of those things where she ain't really, down with the muff diving as much as you are. All right. And it sucks that this happens because a lot of girls, they will get into these situations, right? Where, they're actually lesbian. They're actually lesbian. They actually like women. And then you get with these girls who they're lesbian, but they're not really lesbian. You know what I mean? They're kind of one of those where they were doing it for fun. They fell into a relationship. They looked at it like, you know what? Things are working out. It is what it is. But the moment a man comes in and that man is attractive and, kind of checks all her boxes, it is what it is. Or it's been such a long time since she's had a man, and so then that man kind of like gives her that attention and shows her like, hey, I could take you out, do this and do that and blah blah for you, you know what I mean? Then they kind of like flip that switch back and they're like, ooh, it's one of those things where if you were to ask her, hey, would you spend, if you could only choose one gender to spend the rest of your life with, would it be a woman or a man? She would obviously choose a man. And it sucks for women that get put in that kind of situation because they don't know. You know what I mean? They don't know. They think, oh, yeah, no, we're going to be in this relationship and it's going to be fantastic. And, yeah. Trust your gut on this one. She fucked him. And I guarantee you she's been wanting to, and she probably has been. You know what I mean? You just didn't know. I think this has been something that's been going on for a minute because you don't just go to a work trip and be like, oh yeah, my room number is this. And then you guys smack like that. That's not how that happens. You know what I mean? I guarantee you this has been happening for a minute now. You know, it's been happening for a minute. They've been doing the hanky-panky for a while. All right. So you're just only finding out now. So I would trust your gut and just believe that your girl ain't really down with the muff diving as much as you are. You know what I mean? I think that she looks at it like she fell into it because she may have gotten out of a bad relationship with a guy, maybe swore off dudes for a little bit, and then, you know, once Boss Man came around, all of a sudden she back on penis. You know? And I think that's just kind of what's going on with that. But I've seen this happen far too many times in a lot of the lesbian situations that I get on this show. And it's always that. It's always exactly that. You know what I mean? And that's why I look at it like this situation is no different. It's always that. It's always the girl that cheated. She cheats on her girl with a man. And that's because she wasn't really down with the lesbianis as much as the other girl was down with the lesbianis. And it is what it is. You know? So you guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. Okay. Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend that I want to break up because of porn? Okay. I'm incredibly frustrated that this situation has gotten this far, but I can't tell if I'm overreacting. I wonder if this dude is carrying a pocket coochie around 24/7 as well. Let's see. I, 22 female, my boyfriend, 24 male, just recently had a baby and have been together for almost 3 years. We move in about a year into dating, and a few months after we moved in together, I caught him masturbating in the bathroom while I was making us breakfast. After talking about it and telling that I'm uncomfortable and hurt by it, he said he'd stop and that he understands. This is an incredibly long situation for me, just continuous catching him doing it, either while I'm asleep or in the next room. Fast forward to us finding out I'm pregnant, it all stopped. I was thankful and our relationship was doing great. Then I found out that he's been chatting with female bots on his email and asked them for nudes. A few months later, I found out he's been playing a very explicit video games while I'm home and either in the other room or asleep. We have a huge fight, and he promises that he's done and won't do anything like that again. A few months go by, and the same thing. We are doing great. Then I give birth to our daughter. The worst part is he was so involved the whole time, took care of me every step of the way, and yet I find out that the 2 nights that we were at the hospital, and I was drugged up because I had severe tearing. The just didn't need to be in there. That he jerked off both those nights while I was asleep and our newborn baby in the next room. I can't even begin to describe the pain and hurt I felt finding that out. But is that normal? Am I the crazy one? Yeah, I think you are. I think you're the crazy one in this situation because it's one of those things where, for one, he has these natural urges and you are legitimately trying to, stop him from his natural urges, which then makes him only want to do it more. All right. And then 2, I think for him, let's be honest, you were pregnant. You wasn't trying to fuck like that. Mans was probably just horny and fins to explode. All right, let's be honest. All right, I guarantee when you were pregnant, you weren't giving him sex like that. You weren't in the mood. You weren't feeling good. You know what I mean? It might have been the morning sickness time. You might have felt fat and, uncomfortable. You might have felt unattractive. Whatever it may be. You're pregnant, hormones going crazy. It is what it is. All right? And so for him, he looks at it like, shit, nigga got a nut. You know what I mean? I got a fucking bust, bro. And so he looked at it like, shit, I'm going to just jerk my chicken real quick. You know what I mean? Get that nut off and I'm chilling. But you're over here like, no, you can't do that. And he's like, fuck, I'm not getting sex. I can't jerk the chicken. I'm going insane. So then what does he do? He finds alternatives. He finds the little chat bots. You know what I mean? He plays the Gooner games. You know what I mean? He does all these things because nigga can't beat his meat. Like, bro, like, and that's what I mean. It's like shaking up a fucking soda and then opening the shit and putting your thumb over it. You know what I mean? So it can't blow. Like, dude, you can't do that. You got to understand that your man's got urges too. And if you're not able to fulfill those urges, he looks at it like, and I've said this, time and time again, that there are some guys who, instead of cheating on their girl or going out and, fulfilling their desires or whatever it may be, or their sexual urges with other women, they look at it like, I'm just going to do it through porn. I'm horny. My girl ain't in the mood. I'm going to jerk that chicken real quick. Pop that cork. I'm walking out that bitch. I'm chilling. I'm straight. I'm good. You know what I mean? Thank God he's not the type of guy that is carrying a pocket coochie 24/7. And I see what you did. You tried to make it seem like him using the sex bots online and him playing the Gooner games and all that stuff. You tried to make that into something that it wasn't. And that is where I think it's kind of fucked up. He was only using the sex chat bots and the Gooner games as an alternative because you told him that he couldn't beat his meat. You know what I mean? If you would have just let him beat his meat, if you would have just let him do his thing, he wouldn't have went to the sex bot thingies. He wouldn't have went to the Gooner games. He wouldn't have done that stuff. But you tried to shame him for using those alternatives. And I knew what you were trying to do. You tried to put it on the same level as the dude that was carrying the pocket coochie around 24/7. That guy is porn obsessed and deranged. Your guy is just pent up and needs to fucking blow his load a little bit. You know what I mean? That your guy and that dude are two different guys. Your guy is able to separate porn as a fantasy and his reality. That guy who was carrying the pocket coochie around 24/7, he blurred it into his reality. You know what I mean? Because he was carrying Gwendolyn around in a bag, jerking his shit to Aquaphor the entire time. All right? Because she even admitted in the story multiple times that, everything was good. Like, I would catch him jerking off and I'd be like, hey, don't do that. Why? Because he blew his load. Nigga would blow his load and he'd be like, you know what? I'm chilling. I can go a week without him. Everything would be going fine. But then the urges come back. And he's just like, fuck, I need to beat my dick because my girl ain't fucking me right now. You know what I mean? She's pregnant and she ain't really feeling it like that. Sure, there's probably some days you would give him sex, you know what I mean? And I think that would kind of prolong it a little bit. But he had urges and you were not fulfilling him or fulfilling those urges for him. So he looked at it like, I'm just going to do them myself. But then you're putting a roadblock on that. So what does he do? He goes and finds alternatives, and you can't sit there and shame him for those alternatives, for playing the Gooner games and doing all that. And then you guys have your daughter. Well, guess what? The doctor advises that you guys can't have sex after you have your daughter for, I think, a month or two or some shit like that. So what is man's to do but jerk the chicken? You know what I mean? I think you're crazy. I think you're the crazy one, if I'm being honest with you. You guys may not agree with me on that, but I think she's the crazy one in this. Let your man beat his meat. All right? Let your man beat his fucking meat because, again, I think it's a situation, especially now that you guys have a newborn, you guys really ain't going to be having sex. All right? You're going to be so tired and, oh, no, I don't want to. Oh, I just want to sleep. And, let man go into the bathroom, fire off a couple knuckle children, and be straight. All right? You know what I mean? Like, bro, because it's only going to get worse. You're going to push him to a point where he's going to just feel extremely sexually neglected. And he's just going to be like, bro, I'm not dealing with this. And that'll push him to do something worse, than just beating his meat. So let the man jerk his chicken. Let him fire off a couple knuckle children and let it be what it gonna be. Because I think what it is for her, she looks at it like, oh, because girls do this a lot. They kind of have this like idea of who their guy is, you know, and they're just like, yeah, you know, my guy is this and that, and he doesn't do that, and he doesn't do this, and he doesn't do that. Not knowing that, yeah, your man has always been jerking off to porn. Your man has always been doing this stuff. You just didn't know until you guys moved in. And she was thinking the entire time that she was enough and that, you know what I mean, she was good. Nah, bro. Nah, as men, we think about sex a lot. A lot. We'd love to fuck 4 or 5 times a day if we could. You know what I mean? Like if we could just, you know, bust a nut and keep going, we will. We will. It's why the honey pack exists. So we can do said thing. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm just saying, let your man beat his meat. You're being crazy. You're in a situation right now where you guys aren't really having as much sex. So let the man beat his meat. You know what I mean? All right. And stop shaming him for wanting to beat his meat and playing the Gooner games and doing all that kind of stuff because you pushed him. You pushed him to the bots and the Gooner games and all that. You pushed him to that. Because I guarantee you, if you let him beat his meat, he would have never went to the little bots and all that kind of stuff. Because I'm telling you now, if you keep this going, he's going to pay for escorts or hookers or something of that nature. He's going to do it. Because he's going to be so sexually frustrated that he's going to just be like, bruh, I need to nut, man. And it could get to that point. So, again, let him beat his meat. All right? You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. On to our next one. Am I overreacting? The guy I'm talking to said, really? Damn, when I told him my weight. Okay, so this guy, 28, or male 28, and I have been in contact daily for 6 months. He's very kind and has never said anything that comes across as hurtful. He asked for my weight and I told him 143 pounds. He knows what I look like, obviously, and we've been intimate several times. He responded with, really? Damn. I asked him what he meant by that expression. He responded with, I'm just surprised. It's nothing bad. I didn't respond to that. He proceeded to ask why I stopped answering, to which I said that I think he is being disrespectful and I don't want to respond to that. He called me up and said that he didn't mean it in a bad way. You think I meant you're unattractive? I was just surprised because I wouldn't have guessed that. You look great. I said it's fine and just don't speak that way again. I'm still kind of pissed and can't shake off his comment. Am I overreacting? Would you be okay with a potential partner commenting on your weight in a similar way? Well, see, the thing is girls don't comment on our weight. They comment on our height. All right. And it's one of those things where it's weird because you put it in like 2 different scenarios. If we're going to take your scenario where it's a thing, you know, for him, he looked at it like, actually, no, I know how I can correlate this. Got you. A lot of girls don't actually understand what 6 feet looks like. All right. 6 feet is actually kind of not that tall. Like I do have friends that are tall. Like I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm the shortest in my friend group. And a lot of my friends are varied, you know, 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot. I have one friend that's like fucking 6'5", but he's such an anomaly. It's insanity. Okay. But when you actually look at a 6 foot dude, a lot of times, you know, girls will not really perceive that as 6 feet because 6 foot doesn't really look all that tall, you know, in comparison to a guy who's 6'3", 6'4", and 6'5". You know what I mean? Because like I said, I have a friend who's 6'5". Or actually, no, he's taller than that. He's probably like 6'7" or something. But dude is extremely tall. And when you look at him, you're like, yo, you put him next to a 6 foot dude. Or I even have a coworker. I have a coworker who's 6'4". And I put him next to my friend that's 6 foot. and he makes my 6 foot friend look small. And so when you look at him, you're like, damn, that nigga's short. You know what I mean? And so it's one of those things where it's kind of perception. And if you didn't know him, you know what I mean, and you didn't know that he was 6 foot, you would assume bro's probably like 5'9". You know what I mean? A woman would probably assume that. Like, oh yeah, dude's probably like 5'9". So with this guy, he probably looked at you and was just like, man, you know, she has a very, how would I say, like, form-fitted figure, if you will. You know what I mean? And so he probably assumed, oh, she's probably like, you know, 128. You know, she's probably like 130. But then you said 143, and he's like, oh, damn. Huh. I was way off. Like, when I look at her, she looks to be about, you know, 128, 130, a little bit there. Like, 140, I would have never guessed that. You see what I mean? So that's kind of how that correlates to that. Because if he put you next to a girl who's, let's say, 180, then yeah, you would look skinny next to that girl because that girl's fat. Just like how my coworker who is 6'4" makes my coworker who's 6 foot look small. You see what I mean? See how that correlates with each other? You know what I mean? 6'7". No, I'm just kidding. Oh God. But that's what I mean though. It's one of those things where when he looked at you, he had an assumption in his head that, you know, you weighed probably at least 10, 15 pounds, less than what you actually did. And he was just surprised. I think you're overreacting in the situation just because that's how he was thinking about it. But I think you're taking it wrong just because of the simple fact that you might have gotten that in the past. You may have been made fun of because of your weight in the past. There might have been something going on, you know what I mean, that would instantly make you click and gravitate towards that. But I think for him, it was just a situation where he looked at it like, I didn't think you were 140. I thought you were like 128, 130 at the most. You know what I mean? So that's how I'm thinking that situation is going. But you guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. All right. On to our next one. Am I overreacting by bringing a hookup home because my ex wouldn't move out and she walked in on us? Crazy work. I don't know how in the hell. I mean, maybe there's a bad situation with it, but bro, living with your ex is crazy. Okay. My ex and I broke up 4 months ago, but for our incompatibility over marriage and kids, but she still hasn't moved out of my place. Oh, okay. I own my place. Otherwise, I would have left her long ago. I've been trying to be patient and understanding, but it's been draining. We're not together. We're not trying to fix things. And emotionally, it's been over for a long time. She's basically just coexisting in my space while insisting she just needs more time. She has also been planning for a grand Christmas party at my place, which I refused absolutely, and she cried her eyes out. Yeah, I would have let her cry. I'm like, bitch, this is my place. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have that kind of say anymore. When you were my girl, maybe, but you're not my girl anymore. You know, if anything, I ain't gonna lie to you, I would have just been like, bro, you need to get your shit and go. You need to go somewhere. I don't care where you go, but you need to go. I finally hit a point where I wanted to feel like my own person again. I met someone online, nothing serious, just someone I clicked with and felt comfortable around. We decided to hang out at my place because it was late and honestly, I was tired of feeling like a guest in my own home. I thought my ex was out for the night. She said she'd be gone, but of course, because my luck is trash, she came back early and walked right in on us. A subconscious part of me probably manifested that deeply. It was awkward as hell, not explosive yelling, a dramatic scene, just this heavy, stunned silence, followed by her saying she didn't realize I moved on like that. Okay. We'll get to that in a minute. Even though we're not together, and then she cried, and I felt awful, angry, guilty, confused all at once. The other person left immediately, understandably. Yeah, I would understand that too, because she's probably just like, Nigga, you live with your ex still? Oh, hell nah. In facts. And now the house feels like a pit of tension. I know I didn't technically do anything wrong, but I still feel horrible. I hate that it happened like that. I hate that I even had to navigate the situation at all. I hate that my home hasn't felt like my own for so long. Am I overreacting? Bro, the only thing that you're overreacting on is the fact that you feel bad and you feel guilty and you feel all this bullshit. No, this is your house, for one. For two, you need to kick her out, bro. I don't care where she goes, but she needs to get the fuck out. And then, you want to know why she's staying? Because she still wants to be with you. She still wants to be with you, and you want to know why I know that is because no girl would sit there and say, oh, wow, you moved on fast. She wouldn't have said that if she actually didn't like you or care about you to some degree. She is staying in that house hoping things will go back to you guys being together. I guarantee you, if you had like set up a little night, you and her, you cook a little dinner or some, and then, you cop a little titty field, she'd let you. She'd let you. You guys would probably go all the way. Because I guarantee you, she is only putting herself in that situation of staying living there because she is hoping that you guys will get back together. That's what's going on, if I'm being honest with you. It's why she wanted to do the whole Christmas party thing. It's why she is doing all the dumb shit that she's doing. It's why she hasn't really met another guy, if I'm being honest with you. Like, let's be honest. If she really didn't want to be with you anymore, she would have left. Let's be honest. No girl sits living in their ex's house, you know what I mean, knowing that they can leave and if they really didn't want to be with them. Okay, let's be 1000%. Women don't do some dumb shit like that. They are the first to leave, if I'm being real with you. They're the first to leave. And then if it's her house, she will pack your shit so you do leave. Like, let's be honest here, okay? Women don't do that shit. Women don't just live with their exes. That's not a thing. And if they do, they don't really do it for very long. It's maybe like a month and then they get the fuck up out of there. But yeah, that tells me the fact that she's living there still and throwing the little Christmas party, the fact that she said, oh, wow, you moved on really fast. Those two things right there go ahead and tell me that, yeah, she still wants to be with you. She still got, feelings for you. She's in love with you, whatever it may be. She still got some shit going on for you, bro. So, yeah. That's exactly what's going on. And I get it. You're done with the relationship. Either fix that shit with her and get back together with her, or go ahead and kick her ass out so that way you can start dating and getting back to your life. You know what I mean? Like, don't put yourself through hell because of her. Who gives a shit? You guys broke up. She made that decision. So now she needs to be a big girl and go live her life. You know what I mean? And that's what that comes down to. She needs to be a big girl and go live her life. All right. So you guys let me know what you think about that one in the comments. Let's get on into our next one. Am I overreacting? Had sex with my boyfriend of 4 years, and the next day he searches for leaked images of OnlyFans creator. Okay. I'm not sure how to approach this at this point. I am so tired of asking for more only to end up giving more and not receiving shit. Thursday, we had great sex. He has shyly brought up anal play in the past, so I had been using my plugs over the past few weeks and said I wanted him to fuck me with it in, okay? He knows I am explorative, pretty kinky, and has seen my fetish list on Fetalife? What the fuck? Okay, sure. Fetalife. During sex that night, he asked me to grab it. We ended up using it, and he finishes. In addition to the anal play suggestion, a month or two ago, it slipped out in a combo that he wanted to kiss me or have sex with another woman. I'm bi-pan, so that isn't 100% new to me, really. So I had been entertaining the idea of connecting with another woman who's also open to this dynamic /play. Except the problem is, over the course of our relationship, his efforts at warming me up with foreplay, making me and just enjoying getting me off as much as I enjoy him have been so unsatisfying. Like depressing sometimes. He would also frequently visit OnlyFans behind my back after I told him I didn't feel good about that. Never buy a subscription from what he says, but then he looks up their usernames on a porn site to find leaked content instead. Most recent occurrence of this was not even 24 hours ago after we had sex Thursday night. I gave him head every single time we had sex. I tried to explore behind the tip. Okay. Like he said he wanted me to do, but and work my way to a deep throat. Okay. But he literally head pushes me in the beginning and then starts forcing it down my throat the entire time. I can't even find a good rhythm because he's so pushy with it now. Sometimes he'll just wake up standing over me with his dick out and expect me to be ready. I'll let him face fuck me and finish in my throat, but because I like it, he's never left a sexual activity of ours unfinished. What do I do after asking for more pleasure? Compliments of a tired jaw, dry labia rubbing, and less than 5 minutes of eating me out. It's actually driving me mad. Okay. So, to me, it just seems like he don't even really see you as his girlfriend. You're just kind of a sexual, I don't want, maybe a sexual object, but I think you're just kind of an outlet. Okay, see this guy and carries around a pocket coochie 24/7. These guys are friends. These niggas are friends. All right. These guys are in the same boat. Okay. These dudes are definitely in the same boat, and you want to know why they're in the same boat? Because I guarantee you, your boyfriend's a sex addict, bro. You may think that it's not a sex addict thing because, you're like, oh, I'm kinky too. Oh, I like fun stuff too. Oh, I'll do this and that. Oh, I'm open-minded. Oh, I like this and like that. Like, you think that your sexual tolerance is to the same degree as his, when in reality, his is far more than yours is. Far, far ahead of yours. If I mean, and it proves it with the fact that he doesn't care to please you. He just looks at it like, nah, as long as I'm getting pleased in all the crazy ways that I want to be pleased, I don't care about anybody else's satisfaction. And that is the biggest thing of like sex addicts. Sex addicts look at it like, bro, I just enjoy the act of sex. I don't really care about the pleasure in it. I just care about the acts. That's why they do the weird fetish shit that they do where, they're asking for anal and threesomes and deep throats and, face fucking and all this other stuff. Like, sure. Are there guys that, do the kinky shit and still want to please their girl? 1000%. But those are the guys who are able to kind of separate, the reality of sex and as well as, the fetishizing of it. You see what I mean? But see, for him, instead of porn, it's fetishes. But he's blending those two together. And now, in results of that, he just treats you as just a sex object. He looks at it like, yeah, my girl is just nothing more of just a sex outlet to me. You know what I mean? And for him, it's not even about the pleasure. For him, he looks at it like, bro, nah, I just like the act of sex. He's like, I don't give a shit if I nut or not. I just like the act. That's it. I like when we do kinky shit. You know what I mean? When I nut, my penis ain't hard. I can't continue the act. So that's why he stops. You know what I mean? Now, a guy who can separate that, the kinkiness from the sex and the reality of that, what he'll do is it's a thing where, say you guys are doing some kinky shit, you know what I mean? And he nuts. He looks at it like, oh, don't worry about it, girl. You know what I mean? Rub that, get that DJ Hero going real quick. You know what I mean? Rub her up a little bit, eat the coochie. You know what I mean? Does what he has to do to kind of get her there. That is the guy that is able to kind of separate that. But a guy who can't separate that is a dude he just enjoys the act. He doesn't really care if he gets off. He doesn't care if you get off. He just likes the act of sex. Like, your boyfriend's a sex addict, bro. Like, that's really what it is. And if you want to stay in this unsatisfying relationship, sure, you can. But if you want to be in a satisfying relationship, you're going to have to find a dude where, hopefully, he's got the little kink stuff, but he's able to be there and please you too. Or, find a guy that just has a libido, but it ain't as high as yours. You know what I mean? So, and a lot of guys are down with the kink shit too, let's be honest here, you know what I mean? A lot of guys are down with the kink stuff. So you'd probably be able to get away with, finding a guy who has a lower libido than you, but he'll still be into the kink shit. You know what I mean? You'll be alright with that. But yeah, that's definitely what's going on. Your boyfriend's a sex addict. He only enjoys the act of sex. He doesn't give a shit about getting you off, satisfying you. He doesn't even give a shit about satisfying himself. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where, like, if he could never nut, you know what I mean? He would just constantly be just having sex. Let's be honest here. Because he just loves the act. He doesn't care about the satisfaction or the pleasure of it. So you guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. Let's get on to the next one. This was actually going to be our last one for today's episode. So we got this far in the episode. Thank you guys so much. Love you. Definitely get down in the comments and let me know what you think about all the scenarios. Let's get into our last one. Me, 26 male, wife, 29 female, told me she is uninterested in sex. Ooh. All right. Hello, Aaron. Sorry in advance. This is one of my first posts, and I am not very literate at times. All right, that's fine, bro. You're chilling. I'm going to give a little background info. I have been with my wife for 7 years, and we have a 2-year-old kid. We've been a pretty communicative relationship, typically being led by me engaging in the conversation first and prying slightly. She was in a very abusive relationship previously when she was always belittled and put down for expressing how she was feeling. All in all, I'm happy. It's just a lack of sex which makes me feel like she's unhappy. Okay, on to my problem. Admittedly, I have a high libido and she has a lower one, which I have always respected and never pushed her on the subject to match how I feel. For a majority of our relationship, we had sex probably once or twice a month. Ooh, damn. Which I was fine with because that's what she was comfortable with. We started trying for a baby and all of a sudden she was gung-ho about having sex. We were successful in our endeavor and she got pregnant within 2 months of our properly tracking her cycles and ovulation. When she got pregnant, sex was off the table. Again, I fully understood and respected her reasonings and often didn't even try to initiate sex because I tried to understand what she was going through. So after baby was born, she started having sex after a few months postpartum. Side note, she had a fairly straightforward labor and a physical postpartum recovery. The problem was emotional and mental. She struggled with inadequacies as a mom and feeling like she lost herself. I have tried to be there for her and help her through it, but she has even said I can't understand what she's going through. So I linked her up with a few of our friends who have had babies somewhat recently, so they could help talk to her through this. Through how she's feeling. I am the only one working in our relationship, which we both agreed upon and figured out these roles far before having our child. I put in the work to assist and take care of our child when getting home and on weekends, so I often take care of our child when we are both home. This doesn't bug me at all because it's both of our child and I don't want her to feel alone in raising him. Sorry for the long post. On to the actual situation. As of last year, we have had sex 4 times spaced out about 2 to 4 months apart. Now it's been 3 months since the last time, and I mentioned it very lightly, not putting blame on her, but insisting, asking, is something going on, and is there something I can do to help? Her response was essentially, I guess I just don't care about sex like you. She just kind of hurt this just kind of hurt because it felt like a blindside. She has never mentioned anything like this before, so I'm confused. I tried to figure out a solution, and she just dismisses me. Actually, 4 years ago, also out of the blue, she told me I don't like kissing when I mentioned I felt our non-sexual physical intimacy had started to fade. Okay. So you look at it like, what is it? What do I do? Okay, all right. What do you do? Damn. See, this is the sucky part about it. She gave you all the signs that this was coming before you guys even got married, into a baby, all that stuff. The fact that you guys were only having sex 2 to 4 times a month, that's crazy to me. That means 26 days at the minimum not smashing is wild. All right, craziness. That is crazy. But like I said, I think just the fact that even in the beginning, before you guys had the baby, before you guys were doing all this stuff, the fact that she was not really into sex like you were, that just led me to show that you saw what was going on, but you were just Ray Charles. All right, let's be honest. You were Ray Charles to the situation. You can't sit here and say I was blindsided when you were only having sex 2 to 4 times a month. Come on, man. You know what I mean? Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and say that maybe she's not sexually attractive to you, because that's kind of what I'm thinking it is. I'm thinking that she's attracted to you in other ways, just not sexually. Look, I get the whole abusive past and the abusive relationship and all that kind of stuff, but that's not going to be a long-lasting thing. That's not going to be something where, you know, she's going to carry that on 5 to 6 years down the road. The reason being is because, especially if you guys' relationship is going well and it's going positive, well, you can't use that as an excuse anymore. All right. You know, it's one of those things where it's just like, how long are you going to be stuck in this? You know, oh my God, I had an abusive relationship. Come on, man. It's been years now. You know, you're with me. Our relationship is good. Like, you got to get over that. You know what I mean? You got to get over that at some point. So I don't really think that is an excuse or even part of the problem. What I'm thinking is it's a thing where she may have gotten with you and, you know, looked at it like, yeah, you know, I love him for this, I love him for that. Because, like I said, I don't want to say that that's what it is, that she is not just sexually attracted to you. I don't want to say that that's what it is, but that's, from your story, that's kind of what it seems like. It seems like she was just never really sexually attracted to you. She's attracted to the fact that, you know, you're a stable guy. You can give her that, you know, that kind of like stay-at-home mom lifestyle. Because the moment you were like, yo, let's go for a kid, oh, she was like, let's do it. Oh my God. How many times do I have to have sex with you in order for that to happen? Because once you have a baby, I think she looked at it like, oh, cool, I'm locked in. You know what I mean? I'm locked in. I can't go nowhere. You know? Because now I got this kid. I got him locked down. I got him baby locked up. We straight. And now she's just like, cool, I don't have to have sex with you anymore. You know? Now this is a situation where it's just like, all right, well, if you don't want to have sex with me, then I can have sex with other women. Like, come on now. It only seems fair. Like, why in the hell are you going to deny me sex in our marriage? Like, no. What the fuck are we talking about here? You know what I mean? So, again, it's one or the other. It's either she don't really see you sexually attractive like that, and then she was just kind of waiting for the baby trap. Or it's a situation where, you know, you were just Ray Charles into it, and, you know, you might have to just be like, look, if you don't want to have sex with me, then I'm going to have sex with other women. You know? And it is what it is. Like you're my girl, you're still my main girl, I love you and this and that, but you know, when I gotta get my rocks off, I'm going to go see Sally down the street or some shit, you know what I mean? So I don't know. like I said, I don't think he's going to do that. He doesn't really seem like the type of guy that really has the fucking cojones to do something like that. To be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go have sex with other women. So you might just be stuck in a sexless marriage unless, for whatever reason you decide to get the cojones to leave or tell her you got to tell her you want to have sex with other women. I just think that's your only options. But if I'm being real with you, you should have seen this from the beginning though. You know what I mean? Regardless of if she didn't find you sexually attractive or not, regardless of that piece of information, you should have seen this in the beginning. This was always there. It was always a situation. The fact that you guys were only having sex 2 to 4 times a month, that should have told you right then and there, man. But you thought, oh no, we're having sex now. Everything is good. Now that we're trying to have a baby, we're having sex so much, it's great. But I think for her, she low-key had an agenda. But I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. Do you think she had an agenda? Do you think, she didn't find him sexually attractive, but she found him attractive in other ways because he can give her, that lifestyle. She won't have to work. She can be a stay-at-home mom, all that kind of stuff. Do you think she baby trapped him? What do you think? You guys let me know what you think about it in the comments. But that's going to go ahead and be the end of today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Love you guys so much. Appreciate all the support you guys have been showing, all that good stuff. I will see you guys on Thursday for another gorgeous episode. I think we're going to be finishing, what is it? I can't remember the name of the book. I can't remember the name of the book. What the fuck is the name of the book? I don't know the name of the book. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. I don't know why, but I will see you guys on Thursday. I think we're going to be finishing the book that day. If not, we'll probably have one more episode on that book. So I will see you guys Thursday. Love you all. Peace.